Let me start. Welcome to the coffee lecture number 64 on DETHERM from Chemistry, Biology, Pharmacy Information Center. My name is Jozica Dolenc. I'm a chemistry information consultant here, and I would like to show you a very special thermophysical property database today. So what is so special about this database? It is a huge database on thermophysical properties of pure compounds and mixtures. And you can see on that slide how many data points we have here. Altogether 11.7 million data sets now. And the properties that are available go from phase equilibrium data to transport properties to surface tensions. There's really a huge list of properties you can search for. And the database is expanding every year for about 5.7%, 6%. It fluctuates a bit, but it's growing. There's new literature being added every year. Now, where does DETHERM come from? DETHERM is actually a database which is distributed by DECHEMA, and it is a German society for chemical engineering and biotechnology. Now, we all know that chemical engineers need a lot of thermodynamic properties. And what I would like to mention here is that the data sources in DETHERM are really many different ones. If you go to their webpage, you can check that. But there's also Dortmund database involved in DETHERM. There's lots of industry data. There's electrolyte data from University of Regensburg, and all kinds of reports, theses, and so on give data for this database. When I got to know DETHERM, I was curious where it comes from. How did it start? And the history is actually very interesting. It started in 1973 with the oil crisis, when the Arab countries proclaimed an oil embargo to all the nations who have supported Israel during the war. And then DECHEMA committees initiated research studies, how to lower dependencies from import of materials. So it is a very interesting topic, I think also nowadays. And the Bundesministerium für Forschung und Bildung then made a study called Demand for Physical Property Data and Calculation Methods within the Chemical Industry. And DECHEMA was the coordinator of this, and got at the end the right to market the results, so to sell the data, so to say. Yeah. And now you'll see where this led us to. So I'm going to go now to the database. The database you can search with this interface that is called DETHERM on the web. So if you Google for DETHERM, you will get to the link for DETHERM on the web. And within this link, you can search for properties and you can display them free of charge. So everyone can do that. Now, if you want to get to the real data, to the numbers, then you need to register. And since this database is really expensive, we have one single account for the entire ETH Zurich. Also because not so many users need it, and so far it works really well with this single account. So basically, what I always suggest is if you're searching for physical data, go to DETHERM, search without logging in, and check if there's something that is of interest to you. If you find a data set that is of interest to you, send an email to me and I'm going to download it for you. Now, if you want to do regular searches in DETHERM, then you write to the e-resources from the ETH library. They will put you on a list of users and give you the login details. Then you have them. Yeah. So it's not a problem. It's just that, yeah, if you just need it once a year, then we don't need to do all this administration. You just write me and I'll download the data for you. And with that, I would like to make a live demo. I'm going to go to DETHERM. So this is how it looks like. Let me move this little window away. And start DETHERM on the web session. And you can see the interface is really simple. You have here a window where you can put a CAS registry number or a name. And I'm going to go now for a very simple compound. I'm just going to put in ammonia. Also, because for ammonia, we have really lots of data available. Here you can see all kinds of things related to ammonia that you can also search for, but we go now for a simple ammonia, and then it appears down here. And then you have here two options. One is a direct search, which would give you access to all the data on ammonia that are in DETHERM. So that's going to be a huge list. If you have a specific property that you want to search for about ammonia, then you go to next. And then you have up here this choose properties option. And if you don't select anything, you get all the data, but else you can here actually now go for very specific things. So first we have some common properties like densities, vapor pressures, and so on. And then all the other properties are sorted alphabetically. And I'm not going to read them through all, but I'm going to slowly browse, go down so you can see all kinds of things that are here, activity coefficients, densities, information on azeotropes, permittivities, compressibilities, conductivities, critical data, and then comes all kinds of dielectric constants, diffusion coefficients, electrical data, and then it's energies, enthalpies, all kinds of enthalpies, entropies, eutectic data also, free energies, again, all kinds of free energies, free enthalpies. So I'm going to speed up a little bit. Heat capacities, we have heats of mixing, heats of combustion, Henry's coefficients, as well as we've seen them last week in this database. Ionic conductances are also there. So really a lot of stuff. You can browse that through yourself. And I'm now going to take just one simple example. I'm going to go for PVT data. It's here. So if I'm interested in how my density is changing with pressure and temperature, and something what engineers very often need, you just select that, and that's it. And then I could here say, yeah, I'm interested in just in specific phases, or set other limits, which I'm not going to do now. And now I go for search. And now comes the results. So these results you see without logging in. And the interesting thing here is we have now four results. You see number of lines in each spreadsheet, and you see the price that industry pays to get this data. So if you want like, you know, a huge temperature range and huge pressure range, then, well, you will pay 142 euros for that. Now, luckily, we are an academic institution, so we would only pay 14 euros. So we only pay 10%. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. Now, without logging in, you can still click on that, and then you see how the table would look like. So we would have a column with temperature, a column with pressure, and then the density. And that's how far you can get without logging in. Now, if you want to purchase this data, then here a login, and then you need this password from e-resources from the ETH library. I'm going to quickly type that in to show you what happens then. Yeah, and then I get to this entry, and I could now go, and I will now just look at my downloads, and actually the one that I have been selecting now, I think it's this one. I tested it yesterday. So, and if somebody, oh no, that's a different one. Well, then I need to go back now. So I'm just quickly, I'm sorry, gonna do this again. No, I screwed it up a little bit. Because if I log in afterwards, then it forgets where I am. So that's that search. Here we are. So now since I'm logged in, I can say I want this entry with all the data in my basket, and I go to checkout. And then I say an order, and you see now I'm not paying anything for that because this is my example that I show again and again. So we paid once and then it stays. So if you download data that somebody else has downloaded before, then it actually doesn't cost anything. And I go order now, and then I come to this page, and you can see There is different formats you can download in PDF or there's Excel. So if I do an Excel sheet, then I get this little table with the data you can then work with. And on the other tab, you see some details. And at the end, the third tab, you see where this is coming from. And it's a Forschungsreihe, which I guess it's very hard to find now. We definitely don't have it in the library, but here in DETHERM, you really get lots of data from all kinds of sources. Exactly, that's how it works. So that was an example of a simple case for ammonia. Now you can also say, I want a mixture. So for a mixture, I made an example that is maybe of interest also to people working more with biomolecules. So I would like to search for glycine. Yeah, here it is. And maybe how glycine, how is the solubility of glycine in water? So I need to add water as a second molecule. And with that, the mixture is defined. Yeah, so if you have a mixture, you just put in the components and then you go again to the next. Now we're interested in solubility. So I go to S. So here we have all kinds of solubility parameters, solubility of liquids and gases, solubility coefficients. Let me just take the normal solubility and search. And then I get, again, lots of entries, 22 hits. If you want to see those with the highest number of lines, you can always filter on that. And then you see here the cost is not that high because we only have a couple of lines. And that one I will now not check out because I didn't do that before, so I don't want to pay for that. Now with that, my time is over. So the database is very simple. You check if there's a molecule that you're interested in inside, and if there is one, let me know, and we can get to the data. I go back to my presentation. For the coffee lecture card, I have some printouts this time with me, but we try to get to less paper in the library. So the digital one also exists. And today I made a QR code even, so you can try to download it from here. It's again in Polybox, and then you have a nice PDF of the coffee lecture card. Yeah, works. Very good. And now I will make some advertisement for next week. Next week, it's our third week of coffee lectures, and we have also 3 very interesting topics. The first topic is searching organometallic compounds with reactions. So this is a very important topic for chemists because you need to know quite some tricks to do that efficiently. So my colleague Leo Betchart will talk about that. And then on Wednesday, my colleague Gina Canarozzi will present AlphaFold and the new developments there. And then on Thursday, I will close the round with browsing, which is a tool where you can really nicely see what's being published in all kinds of journals, electronic journals that are available here at ETH. And it's just like really, really nicely done in a format of bookshelves. So you can make bookshelves of journals, and then you see what's happening in each journal regularly, and you can this way kind of keep an overview and put articles of interest to your reference manager or share them or so on. Yeah, so I welcome you to Coffee Lectures next week. And afterwards, we make a break until summer, and then we see each other again. So thanks again.